Are you ready for the most kick-ass sports show ever? Introducing Kevin the Drumming Sex Appeal. Matt the All-Star Athlete. Tim the Red Bell Pepper kind of guy. Manny who misses the layup. And Otis from back at the barnyard. This is the Wildcasters.
All right, so now we're transitioning into baseball.
Oh yeah, boys.
As Kev said, baseball season's here.
Yeah, wait, let's just get that real fast. Why is baseball officially starting now?
Okay, I meant to
he
say
found the
since
hat.
baseball is starting now, not officially. Since baseball is starting now, or 2 weeks ago, whatever the fuck it was.
Look at the
I'm wearing my
camera.
24 karat gold hat.
So basically, because the
And now that it's getting warmer out.
Okay.
That's another reason.
All right, so in this topic, we're going to be going into the reaction to the top 100 list of the MLB players for this upcoming season. There's a few shockers.
Oh yeah.
And then we're also having a Kevin versus Manny debate about the White Sox.
And
there may be a bet
Are we?
included. I'm not
Yes.
sure.
Yeah,
Oh
that
my
was
God.
the five.
Oh, okay.
You know, we'll get to that in a minute. But
Okay.
let me just preface this segment with, the White Sox and the Dodgers were tied for most top 100 players in the MLB with 9 each. The White Sox had that. Let me just mind you that is enough players to field the whole team.
Boots,
Yeah.
Kevin. Boots. Give my
Yeah.
boots, please.
Come on.
Oh.
Let me
Oh, he's got his gangbanger hat on.
yeah.
You gonna go cap someone's ass? Huh?
It cost him $5,000. It's like 24 karat gold.
It is, yeah.
Okay, so we got 9 players, which is enough to field an entire MLB team of players. You got number 94, Luis Robert. Number 90, Johan Mankata. Number 75, Lance Lynn, a new acquisition. Number 69, Lucas Giolito. Number 58, Liam Hendricks, another
Nice.
acquisition. Number 54, Eloy Jimenez. Number 49, Yasmani Grandal. Number 31, Jose Abreu, criminally underrated. And number 27, Tim Anderson. So we're each going to kind of bring up one thing that we found interesting about that list. So let's start with official season baseball man, Kevin.
I find it interesting that Darvish was 30th and is only 2 spots behind Trevor Bauer and Max Scherzer is beyond me. I understand he had a good year last year, but looking at this list, it was like a mix of historically great and last year. I really don't understand it, because you can make an argument that Abreu was...
Shut up! That's mine.
Okay, whatever.
Wow.
Alright, so Darvish.
Holy shit.
And one thing about Darvish, he should not be ranked behind or ahead of Clayton Kershaw. That is just beyond insane. But another point, that's on Darvish. Another point is DeGrom is right where he should be, number 3rd.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but again,
Number 3.
Number 3. He's the best pitcher in baseball. I don't think that's even close. He had a second best ERA last year, and I guarantee you he will get at least 16 wins with this offense.
Is John Lester in here?
No, it should not be.
He
he
retired.
should be. No, he's on the Nationals.
Oh,
He should be like 250, maybe.
But DeGrom is by
but
far the
oddly
best pitcher in
specific.
baseball.
But Kevin's definitely right. It's hard to tell how they built this list, if it was a combination of historically accurate or maybe just last year, or maybe even just potential predictions for this year. It's kind of hard to gauge that, but that's a good point from Kevin. I do think if it is kind of historic, which I'd assume it would be, if they're going to predict, you would have to examine the entire career of a player.
They actually took a dartboard and they just threw darts at it, and whatever name.
At points, it definitely looks like this, because you have Javi and KB, and they're at 60 and 61, which
61 and 62, thank you.
Okay, there we go. Manny, what
Right
were you
next
gonna
to
bring
each
in?
other. They were probably right names next to each other. Oh wait, the needle landed between them, so let's put them back to back.
They were probably sniffing each other's asses, right, Kev?
Yeah.
Wait,
Wait, I have one more point about Baez and Chris Bryant. They should not be even 61st and 62nd. They should not be ahead of Eloy. They should not be ahead of Lucas Giolito.
we're not
They're not
talking
ahead of
about
Eli.
Eli Manning right
They're
now.
not ahead of Eloy. Eloy's 54.
Sorry, not Eloy. I meant Robert. They should not be behind Luis Robert, or they should not be in front of Luis Robert. They should not be in front of Johan Mankata. They should not be in front of Giolito.
Now you're just making up names.
No, that's a good point. But now provide some stats to back that up, because those are all claims that I could get on board
Baez
with.
hit 203 last year, was on pace for 200 strikeouts. Bryant hit 206, was on pace for 180 strikeouts, and he hit
Are you
4
talking
home
in a
runs.
normal season or what?
Oh,
For the
No.
strikeout totals, or in that
Strikeouts,
60
like
games?
no, as in a whole season.
Okay, it's not even that bad, but 200.
200?
Yeah, the
He's
record's
Johan-
like
Johan had-
264.
Yeah, but still 200's a lot for a.
He's an aggressive batter.
Johan
I
had
mean,
200.
the game is changing. Yeah, he did set the record, and I think Gallo broke it the previous year. But continue with that analysis.
sure he did.
Bryant's only hitting 4. Yeah, he was injured, but I really think Bryant is dropping off, and so is Baez.
Well, that's not a question. No, Brian's definitely dropping
Yeah.
off, and that's coming from a Cubs fan.
Yeah,
Give
I'm
me
if I have to
Baez,
be honest
too.
with you,
I don't care if he had a bad year. He's dropping off.
I'm surprised Brian was in the top 100. Baez,
I could see Baez just for the flair aspect.
Oh,
of it,
and
but
Blake
yeah.
Snell being 80th is
It's a lot of it's like the name.
amazing to me.
Well, he
What
had
year he had.
he had a terrible regular season.
Wasn't that bad.
It was pretty bad, like a 4.5 ERA, not as many strikeouts, only a couple wins.
Okay, so I'm guessing the
Or
playoffs
run
doesn't count
average.
in this
Just
list
the
either
pitchers.
then. Okay.
What?
The
So
higher
clearly the
numbers.
playoffs don't count in this list.
I mean, but again, he extended his season, so he should be a little bit higher than 80th. But Manny,
Man,
Man,
What do
what
you
do you
got?
got for the reaction?
Well, pretty much with Javier Baez, overall he's an aggressive guy. So he either does something absolutely fantastic, or you just question what he just did by scratching your head. He is pretty good defensively. You have to admit that. Yes, he doesn't have the numbers, but again, last year, batting wise, but last year a lot of guys had down years. Mike Trout, what's his name? The guy from
yeah, Mike Trout
Brewers,
hitting like 290. Had a
yeah,
down year.
yeah,
for him.
Yelich
that
had
is
his
a down
worst-
year.
I know.
Yeah, Christian
Yelich
Yelich,
had a down year. Yes.
Baez,
Arenado
Baez
had
had a down year.
Arenado.
Right. So last year was a weird season. That's a fair point for Manny.
But yeah, overall,
Do
Baez.
you like where he's ranked? Do you think
I
he's
like him.
higher or lower,
He was
or
like
just
23rd
right?
last year.
I like
I
where
did
he's
like
ranked
that he dropped that
61.
much, but he should have dropped lower.
I like where he's ranked 61. To what Jimmy said, yeah, I'm really surprised Chris Bryant is even in the top 100. Anthony Rizzo, my man,
It's not on there.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's
40.
40. He
What
is?
is he? Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's like
43.
Yeah, I think the Cubs had 5 players in there.
Oh.
With Wilson Contreras
Yeah.
and probably Kyle
Willie.
Hendricks as well.
Yeah, that's who it was.
No, you Darvish.
Yeah, well, you Darvish.
Well, he's on the Padres now. He'd be a
He
Padre
would if he
player.
was still with the Cubs. I think
Like technically at 6.
It makes no sense that Darvish is ahead of. Oh, nope, can't say it. Never mind.
what?
That's Matt's argument.
Who?
No.
Again, well, yeah, you were gonna say Abreu, but you can't compare
Yeah.
position players, and that's like really hard to do. I mean, you can go by value. You
It's
have
like,
to go
it's like
by value.
comparing
You would have
the
to go
value
by
of a position
WAR.
player to a lineman.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean that is really difficult to do. But yeah, the point that I was going to make is that Abreu, like I said in that little intro, is criminally underrated. 31. When I saw that, I was absolutely appalled. I do believe that Tim Anderson was a better player last year. Injuries kind of derailed his season. I mean, at that point, we were talking about like the AL MVP was literally coming down to Abreu and Anderson. And when the White Sox got that season like back on track after Dallas Keuchel scolded everyone in the locker room, it was Anderson who really led that offense, and that's where they took off. I mean, the Cubs basically single-handedly gave Abreu the MVP award when he hit those 4 home runs in that series. Or it was like 6 home runs in that series or something. It was insane. They basically gave him the MVP award there because you take off 6 home runs. You know, he's only sitting at 12, and maybe it's like 14, but you know, they basically gave him the MVP.
I have a fact about Jose Abreu. This is time for my weird connection to players. That's the only way I can contribute to the MLB.
Go ahead.
Jose Abreu is a big contributor of the Easter Seals Foundation, which is like a school for people with mental illnesses and everything. And my stepmom is higher up at Easter Seals, so she works very closely with Jose Abreu. So she's met him multiple times and everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he does a lot for the donation. So that's
Oh, he does. He also has a foundation called Abreu's Amigos, which is the same thing, which is
it's
similar.
it's a part of Easter Seals.
Okay.
So.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
So
He's a great guy.
Yeah, so she's like, she's not a White Sox fan, but she's a Jose Abreu fan just for his work that he does off the field.
He is
We
a
love
tremendous
El
guy.
Cañon.
he really is. I was debating this entire week whose jersey I should get from the season, and I eventually came to the conclusion that it's going to be Abreu. But anyway, going back to my argument as to why he's criminally underrated. You have Freddie Freeman, who was NL MVP, who had potentially a better season. Let me get that pulled up right now. But he's ranked number 4 versus Abreu sitting down all the way at 31. So, I mean, how do you, that really does make sense. They're at least on the same tier. You could make the argument that Freddie Freeman was better last year, has been better over his entire career. You can make that argument, but it is not that far. I make the argument that Abreu is actually better. Abreu came to the United States a little bit later. He was a 26-year-old rookie. That kind of hurt his career, so he was only, he was a rookie in 2014. So if you give him 3 more years, his numbers would be incredibly better. But from the years 2014 to 2019, Abreu averaged 30 home runs in comparison to Freddie Freeman's 26.5. So again, that's that same tier. But again, 4 home runs can make a big difference. 102 RBIs versus 87.5 of Freddie Freeman. And RBIs are really how you contribute to a team. And again, that could be attributed to offense and where they bat in the order. But again, the Braves have had a better team historically than the White Sox. So, I mean, that's a huge gap right there. And then 292 for Abreu in terms of average versus 296 of Freddie Freeman, which is, give or take. They both had one incredible season for Abreu was like 330, and then one incredible season for Freeman was like 338, and then they also had 2 like
How
down
much
years
longer
at,
has
like,
Freeman been in the league?
4 years. So he
So
started in
I
2011.
make the argument that his career batting average being like at close is something to point in.
Well,
his
these
favor.
are just from 2014 to 2019, so I kept that the same.
How old is
And then I have Freeman's like
No, Jose.
they're probably about the same age. Yeah, he's 33 right now or 34. It's hard to kind of tell when they go into. But then even last year, you look at last year, Abreu had more hits. He had 3 more hits than Freeman did, and you can take that for what it's worth. He had 6 more home runs. Abreu had 19. Freeman only had 13. And then Abreu led the entire MLB in RBIs. He put up 60 RBIs in a 60-game season, which is absolutely incredible. And then Freeman had better averages in terms of on-base, slugging, ops, average. So, I mean, again, go ahead.
No, you didn't mention any fielding. Isn't Freeman like a religious Gold Glover?
Yeah, but Abreu is as well. I mean, he's criminally underrated at first base. I don't understand. He doesn't make a ton of errors. He's not the flashiest first baseman, but he picks balls out of the dirt consistently. He has a decent arm when he needs to. He's a very smart player. And
How do you not defend that, Kev?
No,
Yeah, I mean, you
just,
literally
I
watch
didn't
him.
mention fielding. Yeah,
But
Again-
do you think he's a good fielder then?
yeah.
he
But
is.
Freeman is like the best first
That's
baseman
what
fielding wise
I mean,
baseball.
we were talking a lot about offensive stats. So I mean, I don't watch baseball. We've made that very clear. But I was thinking we
But just
weren't talking about defense. So maybe that's where the
I can see
difference is
that.
coming.
And again, let me just pull up these stats. I mean, really, all you can go by for stats for first base, I mean, for really anyone defensively. I know there's advanced stats now and everything.
just the
but
clutch
like
hitting
errors.
puts him on top.
Well, yeah, clutch hitting is a huge part, but let
And
me
he
find
can
these.
prove he finishes. I think he's finished top 5 in RBIs like almost every year.
So
he's been
Abreu
in
had 5 errors this past year, which is pretty bad in a 60-game season, as opposed to his 8 errors in 2019 and 18 and 17. So he's very consistent. His fielding percentage is always at 99.
Is 5 errors bad for a 60-game season?
I mean, in comparison to 8 errors for a 162-game
Yeah.
season,
Oh, yeah, then
that's pretty bad. And that might have just been,
Might
picking
just had a
balls
bad
out of the
start.
dirt or something like that. But then let me just pull up Freeman's real fast, and then he's sitting at 4 errors, 1 error, 7 errors. So again, maybe a little bit better fielding wise, but I don't think that's enough to account for a difference of 27 rankings. And again, do you go off of last year? Well, Abreu was better last year. Do you go
Yeah,
off
it's
of
hot.
career? Abreu has arguably been better his career. So my big point is Abreu should not be at 31. Freeman maybe not should be at 4, but they should probably find a close middle ground where Abreu is 10 and Freeman's 9 or 11 or something like that. But Abreu gets disrespected.
Would you still be upset if Freeman is still put higher than Abreu?
Oh no, I mean, like I said, you can make that argument. You can make the argument for Abreu being better. I personally think Abreu's better, but they're basically even. That was the point I was trying to make. 26.5 to 30. Averages are better for Freeman than they are for Abreu. RBIs are way better. Fielding's better for Freeman. So it's just what do you value? It's not 27
It's
rankings
a
difference.
He's not 20. Yeah, he's not 27 spots.
So Abreu's the top 10 player in the MLB. I mean, he's a walking 30, 300, 100 guy. He's been that his entire career. So let's get into then
One of the reasons they're gonna win the whole thing.
Manny and Kev.
Oh yeah.
You guys,
showdown
The best
time.
Wildcasters.
so you guys are gonna talk what? 5 reasons why the White Sox will win the World Series and 5 reasons they won't.
Yeah.
And then
Could you speak a little louder? You're fighting for our team here.
I will.
And then I'm gonna kind of be a mediator and kind of evaluate
Yeah,
realistically
I really don't care.
who had the better argument and where I think the White Sox will finish up
Kevin,
this year.
go
So
ahead.
Kevin, go ahead and start.
All right. Barring health,
Wait, time out, real quick. I predict Kevin is only gonna say that a whole bunch of players are in the top 100 list, and that they're gonna have like 50 home runs. That's my argument. That's
Go
what
ahead.
he's gonna say. Okay.
barring health, my 5th reason why they will win the World Series is because they will finish number 1 in the entire league in home runs. They will have at least 4 guys with over 30 home runs. At least 4 guys with over 30 home runs. Their pitching staff is top 2 in the AL. Now that Blake Snell is off the Rays. Now that the Indians, they still have Bieber, but their pitching staff has gone down.
Justin?
What? Yeah, Justin Bieber. No, Shane Bieber. The Yankees, with losing Tanaka, all they have is Cole. Severino's hurt.
Severino will be
Kluber
back
sucks.
this year.
Kluber is old and sucks. He
Sounds a lot
he
like
is.
you.
Lance Lynn, we got Lance Lynn, who is one of the most consistent pitchers in baseball. We have our new Mark Burley and Dallas Keuchel. He will not be as good as he was last year, but he
Why
will
is that?
be because he had like a 1.7 ERA.
Okay. You don't think he can do that again?
No.
I mean, not over a 162 game season,
Yeah.
but I mean,
But I think he can get in the low 3s for sure.
I think
low
you can
threes,
kind of
high
equate
twos.
that. High 2, you could definitely
Yeah,
equate to
that's
1.7
fine.
in a 60-game season.
Yes.
I mean,
But
average ERAs have kind of inflated now to like where a good ERA used to be 3, it is now 4, 4.5. Just to point that out.
Okay, but yes, Keuchel will be just as good, if not better than he was last year. Giolito is going to be back to form, I think. He was okay in the beginning, or he was good in the beginning of the year, but he dropped off. I think he'll be back. And then we got one of the best closers in baseball, Liam Hendricks. That was a huge pickup. I love what Rick Hahn is doing with this team. He's one of the best GMs in baseball.
Okay.
All right, so that was the pitching staff was my number 4. So number 3 is our bullpen is going to be one of the best in baseball. Aaron Bummer's healthy. Kopech's going to start out in our bullpen. He hasn't really proved himself yet because he's played like 3 games in his career. But I think he's going to be good. Liam Hendricks, obviously being our closer, and then we got that guy Crochet. I don't know if he's going to be a starter. I think they're trying to put him up to a starter, but I'll just be in the bullpen. We have like 5 guys that can throw in the hundreds in our bullpen, and they have great stuff.
How useful is that now?
A bullpen?
No, having a pitcher that can throw 101 miles an hour.
Well, if they have other disgusting stuff, then yeah, it is pretty helpful. Look at Jacob deGrom. He throws 100 miles an hour fastball, and he throws like a 70 mile an hour curve.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going, Kevin. We're not worried
So
about
that
the
is number
ground.
3. Number 2, Eloy staying healthy is going to be big for us, and I think he will.
You know,
And
I
I think
wondered
he's
why
going to be better than he was last year and the year before. Tim Anderson's going to finish top 3 for AL batting title again, and Luis Robert is going to have an MVP season, I think.
And then we peas him.
MVP season, I think. Not saying he will win MVP, but he'll be a runner for it. And number 1 reason why is because that division has fallen. The AL has kind of fallen away from last year. I think the NL is better. The AL is better. The AL has gotten worse. The AL Central is probably the worst division in. No, they're one of the worst divisions in baseball.
You know, sometimes I
So,
wonder why
AL?
we don't do
No,
The
the AL
Central.
Central.
Oh, AL Central.
The Indians have dropped off. They've lost a few good hitters. The Twins.
I wonder
the
which
Twins are
Chicago
probably
team dropped them off.
the only good team. The Royals have dropped off. The Royals are the same as they were last year, and the Tigers are the same too. So
There you go,
Right.
Kid Manny.
I sometimes wonder why we don't do Kev's Corner anymore. And seeing how enthusiastic and how excitable you were for your top 5 to defend your favorite
To
team.
win the World Series,
I
a
realize
champion,
why. I
a
realize. why.
championship. All right.
Show them how it's done, man.
Wait,
So-
real quick, can you just recap those last 3? Because I was looking up stuff. What were the last 3?
bullpen
Uh-huh.
being the one of the best in the AL.
Bullpen
Eloy
guy.
staying healthy in TA, being top 3 in Silver Slugger. batting top.
Fires.
And number 1, the AL has dropped off this year.
Okay, that's it.
All right, so pretty much I'm gonna say why the White Sox will not win a 2021 World is 2021 or 20 whenever
What year are we in?
a World Series champion
This year.
is number
I'm gonna be a Sky
5.
fan.
Number 5, I'm pretty much gonna go from the least reason to the most reason why they
Same
won't.
thing Kev did.
Exactly. So number 5 will be the pressure. Even though I feel like it won't be too much of an effect. Last year, the White Sox, they were young, they knew they had skill, but they were like, you know what, let's just go out there, let's play baseball. Now, this year, they have to take a little bit of a different approach. Now, they realize, like, yo, we're actually a pretty good team. A lot of teams have high expectation for us. Our fan bases are expecting a ring. So, you know, a lot of these guys are young. So, you just never know when the pressure can start affecting them. Number 4, they're not the only team in the MLB. They still have to compete with other teams like the Yankees, the Rays, and the defending MLB champions, the Dodgers. Number 3, a lot of reasons I said as in the beginning of Wildcasters history is that in order for you to win, you have to learn how to lose. And just because
He went to Garen.
that's pretty much one reason. Yeah, if you go to our school, you know how to lose. It's like losing is in your blood if you come to our school. One reason is because they are pretty young.
That was uncalled for.
One, that wasn't called for, but 2, the White Sox have had like the worst winning percentage the last like 7 years.
I'm talking about with this core right now. With these
They certainly know how to lose.
Tim Anderson has been under contract for 8 years. Abreu has been under contract for
Really?
6 years.
I know, I'm
Mankata's
talking-
been on the team for 5 years. What are you saying? The core has learned how to lose. So that's
I'm
invalid.
saying-
But go ahead. Keep going.
No,
Keep going.
All
We've
right,
learned how to
because
lose.
you didn't let me finish.
Go on. Keep going.
Let him
All right.
finish.
They haven't.
Moderator.
I said what I meant by losing is that they haven't had a playoff experience and like / heartbreak. So just like how every team.
No playoffs.
So last year was the first time that they really got a whiff of the playoffs. Even though they've only played
Smelled
3
it.
games. Yes, they still don't have that. They still don't have that heartbreak moment where you know everybody got down. Where you have to realize where you have to separate the men from the boys. You really distracted me. So yeah, another thing, they don't have that much playoff experience. That really comes in useful. So that's why I'm not saying that they're gonna win this year. Maybe they could win next year. Number 2, you never know when a player could have a down year. Just because you had amazing numbers last year doesn't mean you could put them up, and that doesn't mean you will not put them up. But I'm saying that chances are there's probably gonna be someone, a guy or two, a core guy that has a down year because you just never know who. And not only that, having 9 players on your top 100 doesn't mean anything in the regular season. You have to put in the numbers. Still, you have to prove why you are a top 100 player. Because just having a big name doesn't mean anything. I say that pretty much all the time. And not only that, a lot of teams that are pretty great, you expect great things from them. A lot of teams there are that they just start falling off. A quick look, even though it's not baseball, we take a look at like the Texans, how great they were supposed to be, 2 years ago, and then look what happened to them now. A team like the Cowboys, my boys, in 2016. They got Dak Prescott, everybody went 13-3.
He's making a valid point. They have big names, but they're not performing.
Yeah. They went 13-3, and then now look at them. They have back-to-back top 10 picks. And then look at the Heat now from last year. They went to the finals, and then now they're 18-18. People had high expectations for them finishing number 1 and everything. But pretty much my number 1 right now would be the situation we are in is we're in a pandemic, and that can also involve injuries. Unfortunately, you never know when a guy could have an injury. You never know how long someone can have an injury for. So that could always be a big factor of a team. And not only that, you have COVID, where you have a COVID protocol where if you have been in contact with somebody now, you've gone for like 2 weeks. So there's that. So yeah, pretty much you just never know when someone's going to be out just like that because of either a career, hopefully it's not a career-ending injury or just COVID.
Okay, so
And then honorable mentions. I have
hurry these up.
Yeah, hurry up.
honorable mentions is that because the White Sox and the Cubs will be playing in the final month of the year, in the final games of the year, this would be awesome if the Sox are somehow in like fighting for the last wild card spot, which I highly doubt that will happen, and then the Cubs sweep the Sox and then ruin their hopes. That would be nice.
So your honorable mention's a hypothetical situation.
Yeah, so okay, you're done. You're done, and mainly because I gave you one reason to put on there and that you didn't mention it.
Bullpen?
And that would, yes, I don't know why you didn't attack the bullpen, because the bullpen is by far the biggest concern for the White Sox. And you and every other Sox fan who lives in La La Land for some reason thinks that we have the best bullpen because of one freaking.
Yeah, no, he brought up the bullpen, and I'm like, oh, that's great. Because Matt told Manny to put the bullpen.
The bullpen is a huge
I don't know
concern.
that much
And
about
then-
the bullpen.
and then
We
I
lost our best reliever last year.
And then I looked at
Yeah.
I looked
But
at
he was in the season.
what's it called?
And he was doing great, and then he got hurt.
Yes, let me explain.
Can I say something
We
first?
also got one of the best closers
Kevin-
in baseball.
No, we didn't. He's not a fucking closer.
Kevin said the bullpen, and I was like, oh, that's incredible. Because Matt, who knows a lot about baseball, gave us the bullpen as a weakness. Right as he said that, I look over at Manny. A racing bullpen to put pressure.
Because I don't know anything about the bullpen.
Okay, but again, I think valid points were made on both sides, okay?
And I think really stupid points.
I think more invalid points on Manny's than on Kevin's. But let me just talk about this bullpen and get this thing situated. You said Liam Hendriks is a closer. That is absolutely false. He is not a closer. He has pitched 516 innings in his career and he only has 40 saves. He just became a closer last year. He was alternating with Trinan. Remember when Trinan was the best closer in baseball and the best thing to ever walk the planet? Liam Hendriks was the setup man to him. Liam Hendriks has been a setup man most of his career and he just started becoming a closer last year.
You said he's a closer.
And the year before. Okay, and what happened? We hit Liam Hendriks hard last year. We scored 2 runs on him in the wild card series. He started to fall off at the end of the year. Not saying he's bad, but I'm just saying he's not a closer. Then my other point with this bullpen is we had Alex Coleman, who has consistently been an elite closer in the MLB with a career ERA of, what, 2.95, as opposed to Liam Hendriks' career ERA of 4.10. Okay, yeah, oh my God, Liam Hendriks throws 100 miles an hour. He has a slider. Okay. He gets outs via strikeout. Colomé gets strikeouts via groundouts, via pop-outs with his cutter. They're different pitchers, but that's why Liam Hendriks gets more attention. So basically, we replaced an elite closer with an elite potential closer. So that nets itself, okay? So we still have a great closer. The back end of our bullpen is very good with Aaron Bummer. He's one of the best pitchers in the MLB. He should remain a setup man. We've liked him to become our closer. We've been wanting him to become our closer for a while now. But he's basically a Chris Sale. I mean, with that delivery, he throws 98, 99. He is insane. He is filthy. I will concede that. Jace Fry, you know, he's a flip of the coin. You never know what you're going to get. He's usually dominant against lefties, but against righties, and with this new pitching rule where you have to throw him in, I don't think he's going to get much time. And if you face a righty, he's going to shit the bed. Okay, so he's not very good. Evan Marshall has been one of the worst relievers in baseball until last year when he was only playing the no-hitting Central. And the best part about this is I explained this to both Kevin and Manny on Tuesday when we went out, and I explained why the White Sox bullpen is a big concern. But anyway, Evan Marshall, again, just blows up out of nowhere in 2020, a weird year. So you can't really count on him. If he proves himself, yes, that's a huge asset. Then you had rookies like Matt Foster and Cody Hoyer and what's the other guy? Stever. Okay, they all performed very well last year, which is valid points, and you can only take that data. But again, you're playing the Pirates, you're playing the Tigers, you're playing the Royals, you're playing the Brewers, okay, who couldn't hit shit last year. Okay, and I made that case against Trevor Bauer. So this White Sox bullpen is not what everyone thinks it is. Garrett Crochet will be an absolute stud, and no one can touch him. He's filthy. Michael Kopech, we hope he's filthy. If Michael Kopech is good, this bullpen can be elite. And then you'll have guys, long relievers like either Carlos Rodon or Reynaldo Lopez in there. So the bullpen, it's a question mark. It could be very good. It has that high potential, but you also have to understand it has a bust potential as well. So that's a huge concern for the White Sox, and that's the biggest personal concern that I have. Other thing you mentioned experience. That's false. The White Sox have a ton of experience. They got it last year. They got everything they needed. Like I said, they've had that losing experience with that core. But again, last year
they learned how to lose. Look at the Dodgers. How many times did they go to the World
Series?
That's
only how to lose.
No, they didn't. They didn't even need to. That was only because Dave Roberts significantly overmanaged every.
All right, I should probably say this a little bit specifically. No team can go from a bottom team to winning one game in the playoffs to next year winning the World Series.
Why is that?
Because how many teams have done that?
Again, I'm very invested in the White Sox this year. I've been listening to a ton of podcasts, a ton of interviews, and Jose Abreu is the only guy I will listen to. Everyone has high expectations. You have Tim Anderson saying, fuck it, we're the best team in the American League, and he's probably right on paper. We're absolutely the best team in the league. But again, it's Jose Abreu is the leader of this team, and he sets the discipline, he sets the work ethic, he sets everything, and that is the guy you want leading this team. I think this year is the year everyone will come to see how great Abreu is. He's saying, you guys are talking World Series. What the hell? We haven't even played a game yet. We haven't even started spring training yet. You have to put in work daily. And with that mindset, if you take it one day at a time, one workout at a time, one pitch at a time, one inning at a time, that's the mindset you have to have, and that's the mindset that he's beginning to set in our clubhouse. So that is a great asset for the team. But again, playoff experience, you have Adam Eaton. We had Adam Eaton. He won a World Series with the Nationals.
You need to have this core.
This core,
you have to have the chemistry.
The chemistry is already there.
We've had chemistry.
It's not chemistry. You don't need to throw. You don't need timing to throw to a wide receiver. You don't need that type of chemistry. You need guys that can hit, guys that can throw, guys that can field. We all have that. I mean, Johan Mankata last year had an outstanding postseason. Did it come up in the numbers? No. He had the 4 hardest outs of the year, all in the postseason last year. He had 118 mile an hour line shot to center field. I mean, he was raping the ball, but it was just going right to defenders. So, I mean, if that falls our way, all those hits find gaps, we win that series. If Eloy is healthy, we win that series. That core is there. That core is absolutely young. That core is ready. We added playoff experience. Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn has a ring with our new manager, Tony La Russa, already in 2011. Adam Eaton.
Dude's like 90 years old.
He's 78. And he's 78, and you added Adam Eaton. Okay, so the playoff experience is there, so that's done. What else did you say? Pitching staff, yeah, I think Dylan Cease is going to take a major step forward, and if he does, you have 4 elite pitchers, and that's just going to be dominant. I do think we're the best team in the AL, and then in opposition, the one concern I have, I think we should, again, baseball is a weird game, so it's not always the best team. It's not always the best team makes it as far as we can, but I think we should make it out of the AL, and considering that we make it out of the AL, I think we play the Dodgers in the World Series because they are just absolutely loaded, and they're the best team in baseball. I don't know why everyone's hyping up the Padres so much. Fernando Tatis is a beast. Yes, they added Blake Snell. He's a great pitcher, but I do not think they will be what they were. Again, it's a weird season, a lot of speculation. I don't know if their rookies like Cronenworth can keep it up. Hosmer had an out-of-the-blue season last year. Machado had an out-of-the-blue season last year. But again, I don't think the Padres...
the same thing about the White Sox.
I don't think the Padres...
Just let them finish.
I don't think the Padres will be that. I don't think the Padres will be that good. But then you have Mr. Overmanaged, Dave Roberts, who overmanaged in the World Series last year, and the only reason they won that World Series is because Kevin Cash overmanaged, Dave Roberts overmanaged. And I can give you a whole 2-hour dissertation on how Dave Roberts overmanaged. And Tony La Russa, if we get to the World Series, I know he will not, because that is not how he manages games, that if we face off against the Dodgers, Dave Roberts will overmanage like he does every single year, and the White Sox will have the advantage. So I honestly think that the White Sox have a legitimate chance to win the World Series this year. Again, baseball is a weird game. Like I said, it's not always the best team wins it, so that's hard to predict. It's who gets hot at the right time. You had the 2014 Kansas City Royals wildcard team. They ended up winning the World Series. You had the Nationals, who were a wildcard team, who were 1 out away from being eliminated on their home field, that win the World Series and beat the Astros. So, baseball is a weird game, but the White Sox absolutely have World Series potential, and that should be the expectations. That are the expectations for this year.
Take it on, Hat Man. Take it on.
And this 2 minutes close up now.
This fell right into our plan. Manny didn't actually get rid of pressure, or the bullpen point. He had, and I quote, bullpen, in parentheses, get mad, mad. So he defends us, and it's funny. So you played right into our trap. You guys are so dumb that my hype man bit was just to distract you as he figured this out. He's thinking like 8 moves ahead right now. You ever heard of a grandmaster in chess? They train under Manny.
Nobody can.
That's all well and wonderful, but those should be the expectations for the White Sox. I legitimately think it's World Series or bust for this year until at least 2023. And again, like I said, there's so many factors that play into there, but we have the experience that it shouldn't be a valid reason. But that's pretty much all I got on this season. We'll be bringing baseball every week, but next week we will have March Madness. Jimmy, you wanted to say one thing about
MLB? We don't have high expectations. You're wrong. According to MLB
he just said World Series or bust.
According to him, but according to MLB experts and people that play in the MLB, they don't have high expectations.
Yeah, they do.
They're expected to finish like 3rd in the division.
No, they're not. That's not MLB. MLB predicted them to win 2
That was like a random ball from his grandma's basement that they put that out.
Anyways, who cares about baseball?
Yeah.
Big news in college basketball.
The Illini upset Michigan.
Fuck Illinois, they
which
suck.
means the Illini should be number 3.
Okay, but next week we're going to be covering March Madness.
It's
This
the
is
March
preview.
Madness Mega Show. And to start it off, we have a big news coming up. For the first time in like 20 years, Duke versus UNC, both teams are bubble teams. So this might be the biggest match in Duke versus UNC history. And that is something we could talk about more next week.
With no fans there, disappointingly. But again, this was a good show. I'm glad we got it back to a normal segment. There will be a Jeopardy video released next week. Thank you guys for giving so much love to the Cavs food review. That video turned out awesome. Keep sharing that. That was a really fun experience. We all had a great
Kevin had
time.
diarrhea. We had to take him to the ER.
Actually, Kevin was fine because he's normal. He's used to eating that kind of
The
shit.
onions really-
I
Manny
wasn't
got
okay.
a little messed up.
I cannot
Jimmy
even.
legit almost threw up watching it.
Emotional trauma.
I'm not gonna lie. I laughed the hardest I've ever laughed in a long time watching Kevin eat that, and the garlic sauce was just squirting everywhere. It was just hysterical. But that video turned out really well, so thank you. Tune in next week when we have our Jeopardy video uploaded for you. That will be very epic as well, and then we will do March Madness, big old show next
March
week.
Madness Mega Show.
Mega show, March Madness Mega Show. I like that alliteration. Jimmy and Tim, thanks for being our host. Dan, thanks for being our cameraman. Manny, good job today. Jimmy, everyone, good job.
Yeah.
Wildcasters are doing
One
great.
second, wait. I would like to congratulate Kevin because he is not eating any sugar today in the morning, so congratulations.
That's probably going to change as
That's
soon as
wrong.
we...
I drank pop before here.
Never mind.
That's insane. That was like 10. Okay, but thanks for watching. Have a good week,
Wildcasters.
everyone. We love you.